Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Claire, and today we're going to be discussing Instagram for our masterclass. This is personally my personal favorite social media platform, so I'm very excited to deep dive into this one today. So today our agenda for today is going to be we're going to first look at Instagram and SEO along with captions. So with social media, it's really important that your content is optimized for SEO. And similar to how you would optimize your blog content and content writing for your website, social media works in a very similar way in that it does require text and keywords through the likes of your captions and text through the content itself to figure out what exactly your content is about, and making sure that you're giving Instagram the correct information about what your content is about and who you're targeting in order for it to use this information and target the correct people for you. So with this, it means that the more correct people that you are targeting and reaching, the more likely you'll get your engagement and conversions then in the long run. And then I'm also going to be discussing a bit about the Instagram algorithm itself, because this is always the kind of big conundrum that is always seemed to be the thing that people feel as if it's against them sometimes when it comes to posting on Instagram. So I'll go into a little bit about how exactly it works, or how it even determines how posts are seen by different users, and why this could potentially be the reason behind possibly why maybe if any of your content you feel as if it's not getting as much reach as you would like, or you're not getting as much engagement as you would like as well. So I'll go into a little bit about that as well, so there's a little bit of a deeper understanding about how it works, and then how we can use this information to optimize our content a little bit better. And then I'll go into a bit about how to then create content for Instagram. So there's a range of different content that you can create for Instagram, such as the likes of your main grid posts, your stories, reels, and so on. So going into a little bit about your content options that you have and the best ones for you, depending on what type of content you're looking to post and the people you're trying to attract. And then following on from this, specifically focusing on and looking at Instagram stories and reels, because these are definitely the bread and butter of Instagram, which is a little bit ironic in that it did develop as purely a photo sharing app, but now we've got the likes of stories and reels that have really taken off, that has shown the impact of video content and moving image as well to really kickstart your reach and get a little bit more engagement for your content. So going into how you can utilize stories and reels, because these are really key for growing your account on Instagram. And then I'll go into Instagram Insights as well. So this is basically such a really useful tool that you can use to figure out what content is performing well, and identifying what are the metrics that you should be looking at in order to evaluate your performance to date, and then how you can use this information to always develop your strategy in the future, so that's always relevant for your content. And then finally, I'll go into some new Instagram features and last minute tips as well that you can use as well to inform your strategy, because like everything with social media, there's always new features and updates and news and everything else coming out, and new tools that they're testing out. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown about some recent ones that would be really key, and that would really be really great to try to integrate into your strategy as well, so that your content is up to date and you're aware of all of these new features that are really being pushed forward as well by Instagram, and which ones they're prioritizing at the moment, which will really help you increase your reach and your engagement as well online. So I'll go into this for the agenda, but of course, if you've got any questions, please leave them within the comments, and then I'll get towards those at the end if you have any questions along the way. So for to start off or begin with, I'm going to go into a bit about Instagram SEO and captions. So just because for Instagram, it did develop first as a photo sharing app, but now has become so much more than that, in terms of you have e-commerce websites that are really using it to drive traffic to their websites. You have your video content, interactive engagement stickers, and so on. So it's become so much more than that. And even though the media files in terms of your images, your graphics, and your videos are so critical and important to gauging user attention, it's still really important that the textual elements in terms of your captions and optimizing your content for SEO is still really important, because this is the thing that Instagram uses to try and figure out how it's going to rank content and even help users discover content in the likes of your search and the search tab and the explore tab as well. So making sure that your content is being seen by those people who are actively looking for content that you're already producing, or even the ones who are in the explore tab where Instagram is tailoring everything that it thinks a user will be interested in based on their user history before. So looking at ways how you can optimize your SEO for Instagram and your captions as well. So in the previous masterclass for Facebook, we went into a little bit about how to write a caption to ensure this. And the same rule applies for Instagram, where your caption then for your social media posts need to have these following elements. So just as a recap, if you have an engaging hook at the beginning of your caption, and this could be a statement or a question where possibly you're identifying your target audience. So this could be maybe something like, are you a parent in need of resources to help your children with homework? It could be maybe something like, do you have a graduation coming up? Anything like that, where you're picking apart a certain maybe challenge or type of customer that you're trying to attract and identifying those within your hook. Or this could be, say, a bold statement where it could be something like, this is the best tip you'll hear today about painting, or anything like that, where it could be something on those lines. Or I have a controversial opinion, and maybe going into a little bit about that. Maybe if you've got a post that you want to post on Instagram, and it could be something about maybe going through some industry myths or something like that, where you're really differentiate yourself compared to other business pages. So starting off with a hook where you're going to convince your audience to stop. And this is quite important, especially for the likes of Instagram, only because, say, for a Facebook post in comparison, usually you do see a good amount of lines before the content itself. Whereas for Instagram, usually you do only see that first line or those first few couple of words, and you do need to click into that see more option to be able to see the rest of the caption. So I would say for your hook for Instagram is really key, so that you're encouraging your audience to read your caption, which is really important, so that they're spending a lot more time looking at your own content. So making sure that your hook is something that's really engaging and teasing what you're going to offer for your audience. And then following from this, having clear and valuable information. So having this clearly laid out through the likes of emojis or bullet points to really make it clear and valuable information. So this could be, say, some tips, some benefits, or any important information that is relevant to your post for your audience that they really need to know, that's relevant with your media file that you've got attached with your Instagram post. And then within your caption, to finish this off with a call to action. So clearly outlining what you'd like them to do, whether this is to maybe click a link in your bio, if it's to like the post, is it to tag someone in the comments, share the content, whatever it may be. Outline this within your call to action at the very end through text, so that they're encouraged to do so. The one thing I would say about the call to action is that normally sometimes what usually happens on Instagram is that we sometimes naturally go to include website links in our caption for a call to action, to say things like check out our website or check out our blog post, intending for people to direct users to that specific web page. The only thing I would say about this is that if you are creating content where you're trying to direct people to a website link, I would include this instead in your bio, and instead have your call to action outlined as in, click the link in our bio to book your appointment, or whatever your call to action is, to outline that the link is in your bio instead. Or alternatively, even if you wanted to say something like, if you have maybe a story to accompany this and you had the link sticker as well, so that they can click on that link and be directed to the web page. Only because on Instagram, even though it seems a little bit strange the way there's so many of these new updates and features that Instagram will come out with, and they're testing AI tools and all the rest, and yet we can't click a link in a caption. It seems a little bit strange, but so if you include a website link in your caption on your Instagram posts, as in a main grid post, it's not actually clickable. So this could mean that you could be maybe including a website link, which is valuable and does align with your goals and objectives of what you would like to achieve with your post. But it could actually have the opposite effect, in that if a user was interested and wanted to click onto that link and they're not actually taken to anywhere because it doesn't highlight as a hyperlink naturally as it would do, say, on a Facebook post. And also as well, it's actually really difficult to copy and paste as well. The link as well, because it doesn't actually highlight when you try to copy it as you would normal text from, say, a note on your phone or anything like that. So say if you've got a link and it's one of those where it says something like / and it's got special characters or something like that, it can actually be kind of frustrating for your audience in a way if they can't copy that and paste that naturally in the thing, and they may just result in them saying, actually, I don't care anymore, and continue to scroll, unfortunately. So definitely, if you're looking for your audience to go to a website link, that's 100% and brilliant, as long as you've got your call to action where it says click the link in our bio, and you've got that bio and that bio link clearly there within your Instagram bio, instead of having that as your URL link in the plain text within your caption. And of course, accompany this then with an eye-catching image, graphic, or video. At the end of the day, Instagram was definitely built to be a very visual app. And compared to Facebook, the media file is the first thing that you will see before your caption. So your media file should be the thing at the end of the day that should ultimately do the talking, especially when you think about when you go into your Explore tab, you're bombarded immediately with different reels, videos, graphics, everything there ready to go before you see the captions themselves. So even though the caption is very important in terms of SEO, definitely use your media files so that it does the majority of the selling for you or the speaking for you, in that it communicates your messaging effectively and you're delivering all of your tips and benefits and that brand messaging that you intend to within the media files. So and where possible, use videos for this, especially because this is proven to hold user engagement for so much longer, and especially if you upload videos and they're very engaging. Videos are also much more watchable, where if they're entertaining and valuable, you may find that users will save that video or rewatch it to get that information again and to really take it in. So videos are brilliant to do this where possible, if you can, to produce videos instead. And even if, say, you wanted to get across your brand messaging and you didn't necessarily have say video clips taken, even if you wanted to do a slideshow of images and you've got some text there as well, and these are great especially to create in batch for short video content that's still valuable. And with this, you could even say in your text maybe something like, read the caption below for more tips, and this will be really helpful to continue to encourage that person to also take in your information through your caption as well. So there's definitely a lot of ways that you can integrate video, and they don't always have to be necessarily where you're standing taking clips on your phone. You can definitely mix this up with, say, a slideshow of images and with textual elements as well. And finally, your hashtags as well. So this really helps with your SEO and your caption for Instagram to figure out what category is this post being put into in terms of interest and content that you're discussing within your post. So all of these elements will really help your caption on Instagram and with your SEO. So just to go into a little bit more about the SEO side. So in terms of keywords, these are really important for your Instagram and SEO, and keywords are basically words or phrases that you'll include in your caption, and this allows the algorithm to understand what your content's about, and then this will ultimately help the algorithm recommend content to the correct audience. So a keyword is basically any term that social media users enter into a search engine. So basically, say whenever you go on to, whether that is, and the same applies for the likes of Google, where when you go onto Google or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any of those types of platforms where it has a search engine, and you type in a keyword or a few words to describe what you're looking for, that is basically a keyword, even if it's a long tail keyword where it could be a query, or it could be maybe something on the lines of maybe someone searching for, say if someone was searching for painting and that was it, but you could have maybe someone typing in painting techniques, or even further, someone could be typing in painting techniques for beginners. So there's definitely different variations with your keywords that you can include within your caption for Instagram. So basically, say every time where you upload a post, Instagram scans through that content that you have placed within your caption and tries to identify what keywords that you've included to allude to what your content is about, and try to match that up with what people are searching for within the search engine. So utilizing your keywords are really important to describe your content for not only the user, of course, when they read the caption, but also for the Instagram algorithm to pick that up. So just as an example, you may get cases where, say, if you upload a video or an image, and even though, say, the user, when we're watching the content, it actually could be quite obvious what your content is offering, and we understand that messaging. But say if your caption didn't have a lot of keywords, or it was actually very limited, no hashtags, anything like that, it could actually mean the difference between reaching a large audience and not, potentially. So so even though it's one of those things where your media file is definitely the thing that hooks people in and engages the user, your caption is ultimately the key thing that will really help your content appear within those search engines, the Explore tab, and help Instagram itself understand exactly what your content offers in order to match those keywords and phrases that users themselves are using. So it's almost like a game of like a jigsaw puzzle in a way for the Instagram algorithm, where it's trying to match everything that users are typing into the search engine and saying, here's some content with that keyword. I think this is what you're looking for. So this is really important for, in terms of your keywords, to include these within your caption for Instagram. So just as an example, let's just say I am looking for a coffee shop to visit in Belfast. In this example, what the user could be typing in order to find a coffee shop in Belfast could be things like coffee shop, coffee Belfast, Belfast cafe, artisan coffee Belfast, maybe a study cafe in Belfast, and different variations such as best coffee in Belfast and coffee Belfast city centre. The more times you say those words, you feel as if you've just said the same thing multiple times. But in this case, say for example, all of these users are typing in different things, but the main thing is that you could have users typing in different keywords or different variations of the keywords. But if you were look at this list, the key thing that links all these different search terms and users together is, at the end of the day, we're all looking for a cafe in Belfast, and that's the key thing that is grouping us together. So so it's really important to consider what people are searching for that could be beyond, in a way, what it says in the tin, is in what you offer in terms of your products and your services. So it's important to think about what those long tail keywords could be, or what else people could be searching for. So if you were curious to see what exactly could you be typing in even more, the search engine itself on Instagram is fantastic to use. So say if you go into Instagram, and whether you're searching for just a keyword, or if you wanted to hashtag this instead, completely up to yourself whether you're searching for keywords in general or if it's specifically hashtags. If you include this and if you search for this in the search engine, and before you actually click on search, double check to see what's actually coming up into the suggestions and see what people are looking for, because this is kind of like a great hint from Instagram to let you know what people are also searching for, and almost giving you recommendations or suggestions to say, are you looking for this? Do you want to search for this instead, or anything like that? So before you actually before you actually hit search, once you've say entered a keyword related to your business or your products or your services, double check to see what people are also looking for within those recommendations. So kind of like, say if you've ever watched, which I'm obsessed with, like the autocomplete Wired interviews which celebrities do to try and figure out what people are asking them or searching for on Google, and they answer those questions, and it's always kind of silly questions related to what was Daniel Craig's first movie and things like that. So kind of like that idea, but looking at those recommendations that are coming up and ensuring to include those keywords where you can in your caption and your hashtags to ensure that you're matching that content for that user. So the more of these keywords that you're including, the better chance that the Instagram algorithm is going to fully understand your content, and then with that share it to the correct people that you're trying to reach when they're searching for these keywords. So in terms of hashtags, I used to be the kind of person, again, where I used to think I thought hashtags were something people just did to be cool, like a sign off at the end of a post or anything like that. But hashtags are brilliant because they serve as links and categories for the user, and allow them to click into them to discover more content that's similar to the post that they're currently viewing. So say if you were on a post and it was about a bacon recipe, and you really liked this bacon recipe, and you wanted to know more, and say this user or this account had hashtagged baking recipe, what you can do is tap into that hashtag, and you'll be taken to then a separate window where Instagram will show you similar posts that have got that hashtag with it. So this is why hashtags are really important, so that say if the user came across a post that they really enjoyed and really find the content beneficial, if they wanted to continue that journey and see what else could I discover that's related to this, then they could use those hashtags as reference points, so that it saves them kind of having to do the hunting themselves. Or say if you saw a post and you thought, I really enjoyed that, but I'm not entirely sure. Say if it was maybe a clothing boutique and they were showing you clothing pieces from maybe international brands that you've never heard of, and you think, I'm not sure what that's called. I couldn't catch that. I can't remember. If they've got those hashtags there where they're placing the post into a category about hinting towards what the products and services are offering, then that user can click into that hashtag and be taken to multiple and several more posts related to that hashtag where other accounts have got that included. So it's a great way to place your content almost into categories, and allowing the Instagram algorithm and users themselves to allow them to kind of delve deeper into their own interests and hobbies that they're really interested in terms of content. So it's a great way to categorize your content so that you're reminding the Instagram algorithm and users of the purpose of your content and the topics that you're focusing on specifically. So usually when it comes to hashtags, the golden question is always how many hashtags to include. And this is kind of like a question where it's almost as if that question where people talk about, did it start with the egg or the chicken in some sense? And this is always kind of ever changing, and there's a great debate about this and whether or not they're still relevant to an extent. So for hashtags, you can add up to 30 hashtags on an Instagram post. So you can add up to 30 hashtags, and you're not going to be, and past that you will be limited, but you can add up to 30 on an Instagram post. And then in saying this, Instagram used to recommend around 30 hashtags to use in a post, but recently this year, Instagram themselves have recommended to add 3 to 5 hashtags to each post. But in saying this, even though Instagram themselves have recommended this, we still have accounts, businesses and content creators that are including more hashtags and use those to their advantage to reach the correct users and to drive that success quite quickly. So even though this is Instagram's recommendation, I think that this is only, to be honest, more beneficial if, say, if you've already established your platform, you're happy with all of the users that you've built, and you more just want to get those hashtags across related to, say, branding or products or anything like that. So on the flip side, even though Instagram would recommend 3 to 5 and the most hashtags you can include are 30, I would aim to include 5 to 15 or so hashtags to begin with, to expand your reach, so that you're ensuring that, say, any of those kind of long tail keywords that people will be searching for, that you've got that included onto your post, especially because hashtags and keywords can sometimes be similar to synonyms in a way, where somebody's saying one word and somebody's saying the other, but we basically mean the same thing at the end of the day, but we just have decided to use different terms. So that's why it's really important to have a variety within your hashtags, and especially hashtags are really key for if you're a new account, say, or you've got a couple of hundred followers, but you really want to increase that to get into the thousands, just as an example. This is where hashtags are really key so that people will discover your content. So even with this, if you were looking to see what hashtags to include in order to expand your reach, what I would do is, if you go to the search engine again on Instagram, and if you search for a hashtag, so if you insert the actual hashtag symbol, type in the one that you intend to type in, and you'll see within the similar recommendations search part, it will give you an estimated figure about how many other posts have included that hashtag. So say if you're especially a new account, check out to see the ones, or try search for the ones that are a little bit more niche, where there's some hashtags where there's maybe a couple of hundred posts that have it, or a few thousand, or anything like that. So say if you focus on those niche hashtags that have a few thousand posts, a couple of hundred that use that hashtag, you're more likely to increase your reach and to get those followers more quickly, only because, say, if you included really, really general hashtags and you're a new account and you're quite new to Instagram, and say the hashtags that you're including, there's 35 million posts possibly with some of those hashtags, and it could be maybe quite general hashtags. If it was just something like film, fashion, cooking, something like that, where it's really, really simple. I would ensure to include that balance of those niche hashtags so that you're actually more guaranteed to be seen, compared to if you include those hashtags that are within the millions all the time. It could be a much slower process for Instagram to kind of pick up their posts then and to filter that into people's feeds, only because there's such a demand for competition. So it's a little bit kind of similar, related to the likes of your keyword difficulty in a sense when you're trying to rank on Google. So in a similar sense, hashtags work in a very similar way, in that try and looking for those ones that have fewer posts. And this can really help, especially for new startup accounts or accounts that maybe only have a few hundred followers. Check to see how many posts are have been posted in the past with those hashtags to ensure that you get that reach. So just as a little example, I would think of hashtags. Imagine you were playing a game of Articulate or charades or something like that, and you had to describe something and you had to get people towards that answer, and you had to describe these through buzzwords. So say, just as an example, if you're posting something related to the movie Titanic, some words that would probably come to mind would be Titanic, James Cameron, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, and then other ones defining exactly what that interest is. So that could be things like historical drama, film history, and so on. So if you're ever stuck related to hashtags or keywords, even if you wanted to break it down to basics, where if you had to play a game of what terms would place my products and interests into a certain category that people would be looking for, write all of those words down, and then from there check the search engine and see what people are searching for in terms of your long tail keywords and hashtags as well. So this is really important in terms of the hashtags, because this is what Instagram uses to categorize interest, almost as if you were in a library and you were placing a book into the drama section or the thriller section or anything like that. So it's almost as if you've got your post, it's ready to go, and now you're placing these are the different interests that I'm tapping into within my post. So think of them like buzzwords, as if you were playing almost like a game of charades or Articulate, and you had to get these down really quickly. Get those down and then check the search engine to help inform which ones to go for then for your Instagram strategy. So for your keywords, this is also really important in terms of your SEO as well, to optimize your bio. So the Instagram bio will basically, Instagram will look at your bio to see what keywords you've got included in this as well when it comes to recommended pages, when people are searching for keywords as well, because you can have a mixture between in your search results, whether it's an account you're looking for, is it a hashtag, is it a post? So when it comes to the account side, this is what Instagram takes into consideration when it comes to ranking other pages that may be offering something similar to your own business, but looking at ways how you can hopefully get to the top of those recommendations, so you're not further down the search results page, because ultimately the further down you are in search results, the less likely someone will be to find you or get some kind of conversion from that. So with your Instagram bio, if this would outline who you are and where you're based, if relevant, of course, if you're an online business or if you do an e-commerce website and it's not entirely relevant where you're based, you don't have to include this. But if we're possible and we're relevant, this will definitely help, especially for the case of, say, the example of a coffee shop in Belfast. This really helps if you've got a location included, so that the algorithm knows that you're looking for somewhere. If you've got your location in your bio, then it's going to really help those people who are searching for local content rather than recommending somewhere in America or something like that, where they think that's useful, but I can't go there right now, and so on. So outlining who you are and where you're based. Then outlining the products or services that you offer through keywords. So again, using your keywords, listing a couple of your products or your services that you offer, so that Instagram can see this in your bio and therefore clock from that to say, I get that this page offers paintbrushes, art pieces, and so on and so forth, whatever your page offers, and this will really help with Instagram recommend your page. Also as well, your USP. So this is more so related to also keywords and also for the user themselves. So this really helps users differentiate what is it exactly that you offer that makes you different, because at the end of the day, because with being online, there's so many businesses online these days, but it's really key to still keep your own relevant and making sure that you differentiate yourself from a different page. So highlight a USP, and this could be, say, have you won a recent award possibly to list here, or What is it about your services that's an ad that other places don't? Even if this was something like free delivery, if you sell products, or maybe if it's services, is it maybe something to do with you get we provide individualized one-on-one consultations, something like that, where it's a key aspect of your services or your product that you can include within your bio to really upsell your business for the users. And then also outlining the people you cater for. So because there's so many accounts online, sometimes you might find where users come onto pages and it may take them a moment or two to kind of realize that this is what they're looking for, or that a business actually caters for them. So say, just as an example, you may get, say, if you were a personal trainer, you could have somebody maybe searching for a personal trainer, but that person could be looking for, maybe, I'm a complete beginner and I've never been to a gym before, and that's their key factor of determining what page to go for. And in this case, what if they came onto a page and it was very much gave a pro element to it. But if that's not outlined within the bio to say, I also cater for beginners, that person may not realize that and kind of maybe potentially be put off by the content and say, oh, this isn't for me, I have to go somewhere else. So outlining the people that you cater for, so that's really clear for the Instagram algorithm and also social media users. And then finishing it off with a call to action to direct users to your website or a relevant URL link. So this could be outlined and say something like, book your appointment now, browse our website, shop now, or something like that, where you're then directing the user to that link in your bio that's directly underneath. The other thing I would say is to make sure that your URL links are definitely separate from your bio. So you'll get, when you go into your profile settings, there will be a separate setting to add your links to. So I would ensure that you've got your links definitely here rather than your bio, only because, say, if you're including the link in the text itself, the plain text for the bio, you could be one kind of using characters that actually you could be using for keywords for one thing. And also as well, the user wouldn't be able to click onto this link if it's part of that plain text within your bio that's related to who you are, your USP, and so on. So definitely making sure that your URL links are within that setting in your profile so that it's actually clickable for the user to utilize. So definitely just to make sure that that's that you've got that setting there so that it's more user friendly and easier for the user to pick up on, in case you're seeing that not many people are clicking onto your link or coming from social media. This could possibly be one of the key factors that could be influencing this. So just say, as an example to demonstrate, let's just say I'm a family photographer and I want to drive the correct audience to my profile. And for a bit of background, I'm based in Northern Ireland and I offer photography services for families, newborns, and couples. And another key aspect that I offer are photo albums and photo frames to increase my revenue. So based on this information and the breakdown of what you should include in the bio, perhaps this business owner could compose a bio like this, where it could be family photographer based in Northern Ireland, so outlining who they are and where they're based. Caption family memories through photography. So we've got that keyword of photography, we've got family here, and communicating this through emojis as well, which may seem so basic when you say it out loud, but it's so effective in terms of visually communicating your messaging and what you offer. Then we've got as well photo albums and photo frames available. So highlighting a USP where this could be a key thing, where not only are we hinting towards further keywords that you've got and that you offer in terms of products and services, but also highlight it in the USP where maybe not every family photographer offers photo albums and photo frames. And this could be the key thing that makes the user say, brilliant, that's a perfect thing that I want to, that I also want to add on within the purchase and the booking and so on. And then maybe a line saying something like, offering photography for families, newborns, and couples. So making that really clear again about who they cater for, in case you saw a family photographer and you may be thinking, well, what does this involve? Can I do a big family? Can you do newborns, etc.? And we've got that outlined very clearly within the bio. And then finally, book your photography session today. So say this, the intention was, or the goal for this business owner was to drive traffic to the website and increase the bookings. So outlining that within the call to action, and then clearly communicating this again through, say, emoji pointing down, just to make it really clear, here's where you need to go, and including the URL links to a booking page and a services page. So with this as well, once you go into your settings to edit your links, your external links for your Instagram, If you use Linktree, that's a brilliant website that you can use to develop one of those links where you click into and you're brought to a menu of different website links you'd like to take the user to. If you haven't got this though, there's a great update now that where if you go into this stage, it used to be you could only include one link for Instagram, but now you can link up to 5 external links, which is brilliant. So if you maybe have a URL link already, if you wanted to go back in and see, is there any other 4 external URL links that you would like to bring attention to for users? So this is really useful, especially say for the likes of when you are then creating your posts, and say if you have something that's very that's determined by time. So say if there's a promotion or a sale or something like that, or a competition that's only relevant for a certain amount of time, this is brilliant to use as well. So that's when you're writing that post where it says click the link, that you can say click the link in our bio to sign up or to enter. And then this really helps so that you don't have to always necessarily sacrifice that one URL link that you originally used to be given and having to change it all the time. So this really, really helps make that process a little bit more easier to bring attention to several website links that you'd like the user to go to. So definitely update this part here if you haven't already for your bio, because you can link up to 5 URL links now. If you haven't got Linktree, for example, as a tool to use to direct users to further links, then that would be brilliant. So say for an example like this is a bio that's optimized for Instagram, where the user can clearly identify what this profile is offering and includes keywords as well. So having an outline like this will really help with the Instagram algorithm and generating a more user attention then to your Instagram page. So moving on from that, now we've got the Instagram bio, or sorry, the algorithm, my goodness, lost myself there. So the Instagram algorithm, this is basically the big web of all the mastery about what is going on and what is the decision making behind how content is seen and how maybe content isn't seen. And sometimes this could be a little bit of a debate of, is it fair, and so on and so forth. The only thing is that the algorithm, it tries to keep content relevant for each individual user. And with that, it's using the likes of engagement rates in terms of what you're liking, what you're commenting on, and using that to try and figure out, here's content that I think you'll be interested in. So with this, it's important to try where we can to ensure that our content is optimized enough so that the algorithm can pick this up. And then also that users are engaging with our content in order for the algorithm to recognize that and push our content to the correct users, so that we're always constantly reminding our customers and our followers about our presence online. So the Instagram algorithm, this takes into account these main factors. So this would be whose posts the user frequently interacts with. So it's taken into account what do you interact with in terms of which posts are you liking, are you messaging, are you sharing, which posts are you developing some kind of relationship with, where you're not only watching and scrolling on, but you're actually actively trying to interact with the profile in some way. It also takes into consideration what type of content the user frequently engages with. So say, just as an example, if I engaged with a lot of tutorial type of content related to related to how to wash cars, which is a very random example. So say if I was really engaged with that type of content, the Instagram algorithm will pick that up and analyzes what is that content that you've just interacted with, and then make sure to try and show me similar content in the future. Because the key for the Instagram algorithm is to try and make the content as relevant as possible for each individual's interests and what they engage with, because the more we're interested in the content, the longer we're going to spend on Instagram at the end of the day. And this is what keeps Instagram and other also social media profiles remain on top, basically, where the more users are using it and for a long period of time, this is what's going to help them always remain relevant in the future. So it's trying to tailor it towards what type of content that you're frequently engaging with, so that it's trying to convince you to keep to stay online, which my screen time is now suffering for, unfortunately, in the future as well. So so it's working. And the other thing would be that's taken into account is when the user typically consumes content. So it's basically taken into account at what points or what times in the day do you usually consume content. So So say if you were somebody who actively uses or consumes content, maybe more so in the evening, the afternoon, the Instagram is going to pick up what's your activity like, and then with this ensure to show you the most relevant content then when you are finally online, and making sure once they've got you to try and make sure you do not leave that app and they got you from when you go onto the platform. So these are the key things that are taken into account, and why it's really important to make sure that our content is taking this into consideration, so that we're making sure that whilst users are staying online, of course they're discovering our content that we want them to see, and hopefully get some kind of conversion out of that, whether that's a follow, a like, a comment, a share, a purchase, hopefully anything like that, a booking where the user themselves have actively gone out of their way to build a relationship with the profile. So these most important factors that will determine, say, your feed. Because say if you have a different group of people, and even though we've all got the Instagram app, when we immediately open the app, everyone is shown something completely different on their feed, just based on their interests and activities. So one of the most important factors would be your activity. So these would be the posts that the user has engaged with through likes, comments, shares, or saves. So just as a test, actually, there was I follow, I think, something around 1,500 accounts, which is far too many on my own account. And for a little test, even though there's so many accounts that I follow, there was one that I picked up on and forgot. I completely forgot that I had followed them. And just as a test, I went into their profile and liked 2 of their recent posts. And since I had done that, they're now appearing on my feed. And the algorithm's kind of catching up now with showing me previous content they've uploaded as well as the new content. So it's amazing how one like, one comment, one share, save can really make the difference, and it means that they'll continue to see that content in the future. And the reason why this is so important as well is that the more times people see your content, the more likely they are to remember it and be reminded of your products and services, and more convinced to take some kind of action from it. So similar to, say, if you were to think about say advertisements or TV advertisements that are memorable, probably one of the key factors that makes it memorable is that you always saw it. Now, whether or not in terms of TV advertisements we're borderline, it's annoying or it's fun or engaging, whatever it may be, you'll always remember that as you'll always remember that brand then of what they did and what that advert involved. So it's kind of funny how the brain can just kind of think of this arguably useless information where you think, well, one of mine is 100% the one where it's got like a little pony and it's dancing to Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. For some reason, that is always a TV advertisement that comes at the top for me that I always remember. So the more times that users are engaging with your content, the more they'll see it, and the more then they'll remember you when it comes to using your products and your services. It also takes into account information about the post. So this is where the algorithm analyzes how popular a post is and the information in the content itself. So this would be, say, when was this post posted, was the location attached with the post, etc. So say if you've got a post and you include your location as, say, Belfast or Lisburn or anything like that, that will really help the algorithm figure out, now know where you're based, and then use that information to try show your content then to local users. So this is really, really useful, especially if you're a business that relies on like physical visits to a store or an office or anything like that. It's really important to do that as well. So the algorithm takes into account the actual information of the post. It also then includes and takes into account information about the account who posted the content. So this gives us the algorithm a sense of why an account is so popular in the first place with a certain target audience. So then it will also consider how many times users have interacted with an account. So it almost analyzes who is this profile, why are they popular, and then once it's figured that out, it will then tailor then people's individuals' feeds then to make them relevant for the user. And then it will also take into account your history of interactions. So this would be information to understand how interested users are in seeing posts from different accounts in the future. So say if you're one of those people like me who follow too many accounts, if there's any of those that you haven't done anything with in the past, in terms of you haven't liked it, you haven't commented, you haven't watched a reel in a while, you'll probably find that you probably won't actually see their posts in the future, like me, where even though I follow so many accounts, I probably only see maybe 30 or so possibly a day, depending on how bad I am with the phone on that day, of course, in terms of how long I've been on the phone. But it will use this information to understand how interested you are in seeing different content and different accounts in the future. So these will be the key factors that make determine the algorithm and how it's going to personalize people's feed. So these are the key things taken into account when developing your content. And with this in mind, there's a great feature on Instagram where you've got your following and your favorites tab. So the following tab is where you'll see in general all the accounts that you follow, and where there'll be a little bit of personalization going on in terms of what point you see it. But there also is a favorites tab. So if you click on, say, this part here, when you're on your feed, you click on the Instagram the brand name, click on this and you'll see this little drop down menu. So say if the user filters this, instead they want to go to their favorites, instead it will show them all the accounts that they have listed as their favorites, and it will show them these posts in order to catch up on the favorite accounts that they want to see. So I would definitely, where you can, to remind your followers, whether this is in a story, a reel, or a grid post, to ensure to ask them to add them to your to add you to their favorites. So all they need to do this is to go on to your profile, and they'll see like a little bell icon as if to get notifications, and they'll be able to add your account to their favorites. So it means that if this is a user who only wants to see their favorites rather than suggested content and so on, just want to catch up on the main accounts that they really want to keep on top of, I would definitely encourage your users to add you to your favorites so that you can try and have some kind of control in terms of when they see the content, and ensure that those loyal followers especially are always you're giving them all those opportunities to engage with your content and therefore grow your profile even more. So in terms of creating content for Instagram, there's a few things that you can do in terms of different types of content that you can produce. So your main ones would be your grid posts. So your grid posts are the ones you'd see on your profile within the little squares, and you see the previews before you click into. Instagram Reels, and this is of course any type of video content which is defined then now as a reel, and usually they perform best when they are in a portrait mode because it's just so much more mobile friendly and takes up the whole phone screen, really on user attention then, because it's taking up the full phone screen, hopefully to get us really to consume the content. Also Instagram stories, which are fantastic to bring users up to speed with behind the scenes content and any kind of news, promotion and things like that, to really help with pushing your content even further to support all of your grid posts as well. And also carousels, which are fantastic, and these are where, say, if you create a post and you add more than one image or more than one graphic or video to the one post, then it's defined as a carousel where you have to swipe to see the rest of them. So carousels are absolutely brilliant, especially when it comes to getting your content seen more times. So just say as an example, if someone saw a post and you had 3 images attached with that one post, if they saw the first image and for whatever reason didn't engage with it because they weren't interested, wasn't relevant for them, or just didn't think to engage with it in any way through a like, comment, or share, anything like that, and kept scrolling on. So once that user has scrolled on, Instagram will basically pick that up. And if you've got, say, 3 images with that one post, there's a great chance that later at a later stage, when that user, say, comes back onto the Instagram app later on in the day or refreshes their feed in some way, that they'll be shown your post again, but this time they'll be shown the second image rather than the first. So a carousel is a great way to, in a way, if someone ignored your post in some way the first time, uploading, say, more than one image can double, triple, and so on your chances of being seen again and demanding that attention again, where basically you're saying you ignored me the first time, but you better not ignore me the second time or the third or the fourth, and so on, with all of the content that you've uploaded within that one post. So carousels are fantastic for this, so that you're increasing the chances of people seeing your content more times, and then therefore increasing the chances of them engaging with the content. And it's not that the user is going to find this annoying in any way, because the media file is the first thing you see, especially because the Instagram algorithm would know to show the second time when they see it, and then the third, and so on. It's going to come across to the user anyways as if it's a different post in some way. Now, you may not get cases where they completely buy it and they say, oh, I know that's the same caption and everything, but the main thing is getting your content seen again, but giving them the opportunity to say, wait, we've got more, do you want to see this? And trying to really hook them in and get those engagement rates up through the likes of your likes, comments, shares, and saves. So carousels are fantastic, and I would definitely encourage business accounts especially to integrate this within their strategy and these different types of content. So with your Instagram content, it's really important that you've got a mixture of brand awareness, education, and entertainment where possible. These are basically the three main topics or themes that really help Instagram content sell. So your brand awareness would be things like establishing your brand identity through, say, meet the team posts, maybe a post about the startup, about the business, and anything like that where it gives a little bit of insight into the behind the scenes of the business. Even if this was, say, a milestone that was hit, was there an anniversary, has somebody's job anniversary appeared, did someone get a promotion, anything like that where you're making the user more aware about who you are as a business. And it's kind of similar to, say, if someone came up to you in the street, a total stranger, and asked you what's your favorite color, you'll be taken aback a little bit and say, what's your name and where'd you come from? So brand awareness is kind of that stage where similarly, to get across those introductions, the how are yous, that kind of introduction and establishing who you are, it makes then your future content related to your products and your services so much more digestible because they know who you are. And it's really important to integrate this along with all of the rest of your content. So with this, matching this then up with education and entertainment is key. So your education can be things like tutorials, how-tos, and giving a little bit of information about, say, your products, your services, or even your industry. So this is really useful so that you're giving the user reasons beyond that, reasons beyond to use, say, for example, your products beyond the fact that they're half price in some way or anything like that, where beyond, say, the price and things like that, describe how they can use it, how will they find it beneficial, and using those challenges and pain points to address this within the education side of Instagram content, especially because with education and entertainment, these two types of content are very shareable and savable, if that's even a word. So this is really important. So that's, say, in terms of education or entertainment, if we like something that we see that's entertaining or give us a little bit of value, especially along lines of, say, something like a how-to, where, say, if it was a recipe or a tutorial on how to do something creative or something like that, depending on the business page, it really encourages the user to save that so they come back to it with that useful information. So if you're increasing your saves, for example, you're encouraging the person to keep coming back to that content and taking it in the future. So using these as your core topics to address within your content that will really help your content reach the correct users and grow your page online. So stories and reels, when it comes to, of course, growing your page, are absolutely fantastic with getting engagement and have really kind of really elevated the Instagram app completely in the past few years. So with your Instagram stories, these are so beneficial because it increases your visibility, for one thing, especially because there was an update recently on Instagram where you'll see where when you first go onto your feed and you see the profile icons that have posted stories recently, they've enlarged these icons now so that it's more obvious of those stories. And it's because Instagram wants us to be going on to stories because they're really quick, short bursts of content that we can take in by just kind of tapping through each and every one of them. And it really tailors, again, the queue of your stories to what you're most interested in and be up to date with any kind of news, offers, and any kind of time sensitive information. So it's also a great way, especially because, say, if you're on your stories and you make it situations where you're tapping through them, and once you finish, say, one account's all their stories and you're done viewing those, it will come up in a different account. And most of the time we don't really know exactly what account's going to come up next, but it's a great opportunity, especially if you might get a user who is tapping through their stories and they may come across your content, and it's a great opportunity to take up that full phone screen and say, pay attention to me. Especially because, say, if you've got your grid posts that you've already been consistently updating over time and things like that, if you find that, say, you've got a certain follower count but you don't see your reach or your engagement rate really reflecting those followers, try posting consistently on your stories, because it could just be that maybe that user, your account could be one of thousands or anything like that, that follower already follows in the first place. So using your stories is a great way to, it could be a case of maybe some of your followers don't actually see your content. So it would be that they are interested, but just because of the way the algorithms tailoring and personalizing our feeds, those people may not be seeing it just because they may not be engaging with the content. So your stories are a great opportunity to kind of, if any of those grid posts are being lost for some users, unfortunately, the stories are a great way to get their attention back onto your account and will really switch that light bulb to say, I forgot I followed this account. And then it really kickstart that whole motion again about them seeing your content, checking out the rest of your page and engaging with your content even further. So the stories are brilliant for increasing your visibility on Instagram. It also builds trust with your audience because it's very much it's because stories disappear after say 24 hours unless you save them to your highlights. Users really, and accounts and businesses have really used these to demonstrate some behind the scenes and almost spontaneous content to an extent where it may not be completely polished like a reel and completely edited and so on, but it gives a little bit of that behind the scenes content of almost like a sneak peek and drawing the curtains and saying, here's a little bit more about our business. So it really builds trust with your audience by who you are and showing that you're actively engaging with your profile and all the features that you've got available. It's also a great opportunity to direct users to your website. So if you go to your stickers option, you'll have an option to insert URL links. So this is brilliant, especially because with the downfall of that caption where you can't click on a website link if you include it in a caption. Try including your website links in your stories because this is clickable and then allows the user to immediately open that up. Especially through, I think these are fantastic for the likes of if you sell products or if you wanted to really be specific about each service and you want to really link the users to those specific pages, they're fantastic to do that where you could have a story of your product or service and have a really specific link to say to buy that product, to book that appointment, anything like that. And it gives you that opportunity to bring attention to the user. So many links. So you're saving that journey of just going to the homepage and trying to figure out for themselves where is this. And even if you wanted to link your blogs here as well, or any kind of links in your website that you'd love to see an increase in traffic, it's a brilliant opportunity to do that as well. So overall, it then builds relationships with your audience. So you're opening the floor to them to say, to engage with your stories, have a little bit more interactivity and showing them a little bit more of the behind the scenes of the business and bringing it to their attention of different offers, your products and your services, and really giving those kind of spotlight moments for anything you'd like to bring to their attention. So the engagement stickers are fantastic to increase your engagement for your stories. In case you do get any of those users who just kind of tap through the stories and are almost numb to the content inevitably that they see, the engagement stickers are brilliant to give to offer interactive elements for your audience to engage with. So this will increase your user engagement and ultimately the views gained from your stories. So if you add engagement stickers to your stories and people are engaging with them and responding, Instagram will help your story kind of bump up along that queue that you see that's kind of tailored for the different stories of different accounts that they have uploaded. So if users are engaging with your stories, so the engagement stickers, the Instagram algorithm is going to bump your content along and bump your content and your stories up that queue so that users see your content more easily and more quickly before they possibly lose interest and get bored, go off Instagram, whatever it may be. So definitely utilize the stickers where you can to boost this interactive element of your content. So for some examples that I really love for the engagement stickers, one that is perfect is the question box. And this is perfect for, say, if you want to do any kind of market research where you really want to ask, what do you want to see, or what do you want me to order in next, or what are your challenges that you're facing at the moment, or even if that's just to get a little bit of feedback about your products and your services, it's a brilliant way to open up the floor and to get your users to be more interactive with your content. So definitely use the question box sticker where you can, because it's absolutely brilliant to make sure your content is for them at the end of the day. And it's a brilliant way even to ask, say, to open up the floor and maybe ask something like, say you had a product launch or anything coming up, if you wanted to open insert a question box, and it could be, say, something along the lines of, what would you like to know about our new our new notebooks, or what would you like to know about our new training courses, anything like that, where you've got something coming up or you want to test this across different products and services. Definitely use the question box, because you can get all those queries in, and you're encouraging your audience to ask those questions, and it's a brilliant way to respond to them then once you get those questions in, and share those to your stories along with the answer for any other users who could be asking similar questions to those different users. Another one which is absolutely fantastic would be a poll. So this is great for the likes of, say, if you wanted a little bit of feedback about something in particular, and this could be, say, something on the lines of, it could be maybe something like, which product are you buying first? It could be maybe something like, which is your favorite, anything like that, where you'd like them to engage with a poll and get a little bit of feedback about what are people preferring at the moment. And it's a really good thing to get them involved and get them thinking about, what would I prefer? And this is always where I feel like I get the most gullible in terms of myself, just when I'm scrolling online and everything, just because, say, if I see anywhere that does anything like, say, for example, if you were a clothing store and you post a photo of a dress or a top or something like that, and you just left it there as it is effective in that you're letting the people know, I've got new stock in, and that's very clear. But say if you add a poll and you say something like, do you prefer this in red or blue? Not only are you asking them to think, do you like this top, but you're now getting them to think, well, red is more my color and I'd like blue on the weekends, or something like that, where now they're not only thinking about the product, but thinking a bit more, if it was for me, what do I prefer? So using a poll is brilliant to get that idea into their head that you need this and what do you like? And then getting those answers is a brilliant way then to increase your engagement rate. A quiz is also brilliant as well, where you can use this to, you can experiment with this so much, where you could do something like, you could quiz your audience on a specific topic that you specialize in, or it could be maybe something like to test their knowledge on your business history, or maybe if it's possibly a product, you could do something on the lines of, say in this example, what is the most popular social media platform? And list your options, and whatever the correct answer is, make sure to tick this where it would say the letter, and where it says A, B, and so on. So that would ensure that once the person has voted, it will come up then in green, which is the correct answer for them. So it's also a brilliant feature to use. Another one which is absolutely brilliant is the countdown sticker. And this is perfect for if you've got, say, like a product launch coming up, or if there's a certain date that you want people to remember. This will make sure to set this date and time for onto your sticker, and you can allow the user to add this as a reminder for them, so they'll get a notification once that date and time happens. So this is brilliant for the likes of product launches and generating some kind of sense of urgency. If, say, you sell products, you sell tickets, anything like that, and you want to have this date as something that's really important for people to remember. So definitely use the countdown feature where you can. And then finally as well, of course, the website link. So this will allow you to insert a URL link and also customize this sticker text for what it will appear once before they click onto it. So with this as well, where possible, insert your URL link where it's a specific link beyond your main domain, say in this case, for example, profiletree.com. Try to make it a very specific page, like say a service page, or say if it's a product page, anything like that. So you're really simplifying that user journey for somebody, and that will allow them to click onto that website link and encourage them to make that purchase, make that booking, and whatever the conversion is that you're trying to achieve with this. So also as well, your Instagram highlights, this will allow you to save your stories for users to come back to, and it's a great opportunity to categorize your stories for your content. So your stories, or your highlights even, these are almost become very similar to, say, when you come onto a website, and we're really used to seeing kind of services tabs where it will say things like about us, FAQs, services, and maybe listing different products to try and categorize your different web pages. Your highlights are basically that, but for Instagram. So say someone come onto your page, and this will give them a rundown of different topics that you address and categorize your previous stories that they can check out. So it gives you your audience a bit of insight into who you are as a business, and brings to their attention everything that you offer. So definitely utilize your highlights, where this could be your about us, this could be a frequently asked questions highlights possibly, Reviews would be great as well. If you've got some reviews say on Google, or even verbal feedback, have that as a story and save that to a category called reviews, so that the user can browse through what you've previously offered for your customers and clients. So it's a brilliant feature to use to ensure that you save that content in the long run. So for Instagram Reels, these are absolutely fantastic, and probably definitely since TikTok has kind of taken off as well, Instagram Reels have really launched really well, because video content is so much more engaging than images typically would be. Again, it's not that you can't use images, they definitely always will have a place, and especially that visual aspect of content, but where possible, create reels, or at least really bear this in mind when creating your strategy. So a couple of things to include and consider when developing your Instagram Reels would be your transitions. So this will keep the user engaged and giving them something interesting for them to watch. So when you're editing on the Instagram app itself, you'll get a few transitions there available, or even what you can do is just simple transitions where you could do things like making sure to include after each clip to maybe cover the camera and then remove your hand afterwards, or it could be where you're quickly kind of swiping your phone across and then starting and ending each clip with that and editing that to make it look really seamless. Anything like that where it makes it so much more engaging to watch. You can also then, of course, edit your clips in Reels, so you can trim your content down in terms of your clips, and you can really be specific about when you want certain clips to show, in case maybe there's maybe something you don't want to include or anything like that. You can edit your clips directly on the Instagram app. And also as well, trending content is really important for this. So when I say trending content, this doesn't always have to be necessarily like a dance or anything like that that's trending. This could even mean within your industry, what are some topics that are trending at the moment. So try and find those that type of trending content. So what really helps is going through your Reels tab itself and take a scroll yourself as a user and try to see if there's any particular theme or topic or anything that seems to be always coming up within your reel feed, because that's trying to give you the hint of this is what's trending at the moment. So trying to create trending content will really help with your reach for reels as well. And also as well, text. And text is so important, because related to SEO as well, if you've got text in your video, Instagram is also picking this up to try and figure out what your content is about. So it's really important to have text on your reels as well. So just as the experiment to demonstrate this, let's imagine you've just walked into a library and you see so many bookshelves with so many books, and it's one of those things when there's so much content, or so many books in this case, you're not sure where exactly to go to. And it's sometimes funny the way it could be text, it could be colors, it could be size, something like this. And in terms of Instagram, that could be dimensions, your colors, your text, your font, and so on. And sometimes it can just, depending on what the user's interested in, it's sometimes just that one thing that diverted their eyes naturally to your content. So imagine, in a way, the same way when you walk into a library, it's magical, of course, and also overwhelming with all the content that you could choose from and browse. In a similar way, when you go onto Instagram with your feed, you're absolutely bombarded with so many different types of content from different types of genres. It can be education, we could have humor, we could have drama. There's so much that you can consume, but it's just a matter of which book do I want to read, or in this case, which content do I want to consume. So with this and saying that, sometimes you'll see within Reels, you'll get a lot of content which may not have text, and especially at the beginning, where text is so important at the beginning of your reel, so that you can communicate immediately what your reel is going to be discussing, or what you'll be promoting within your content, so the user can decide for themselves, I know immediately what this is about, and I can judge whether or not I want to engage with this content or not. Because our attention span is so short these days, where if it takes too long for them to figure out what it's about, they'll probably just continue to scroll anyways, because they're looking for that next thing that's going to keep them engaged, educated, and entertained. So let's just say you walked into the library and you came across a bookshelf. Instead of it being within the spines that you see, instead you saw the front cover. So just as an example, you saw these 4 books, and this you got shown these 4 books book covers, but you didn't see the text for any of them. Now, of course, aside from the fact unless you actually know what these books are, of course, you may look at these and think you use the colors and the elements within this to try and figure out what it is. So with this could be, I can say, is this a family maybe? Is this about family drama? I'm not sure what this is about. Is this maybe a book of illustrations? Is it a drama? Who is the girl? I'm not sure what the context is. So for example, if you saw books with no title, it'd be actually really difficult to figure out what's the drama, what's to say, what's romance, and so on and so forth, to try and figure out where are my interests here and what am I most interested in. But just say as an example, instead, if you saw books like these, if you were to change this and you saw one with text, you're probably more than likely your eyes will naturally go to the one with text in order to read it and to kind of get that information quickly. Probably similar to when I bring up the slides, you probably quickly read on to the information. So in a similar way, once you see text, then you can take apart from this to say this one says Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You can get an idea immediately what this could be about, and you can judge from there whether or not you want to read on or pick up the book. You know that there's illustrations in it based on word illustrations, and it's something to do about the theme of the American dream. So automatically, if you were a consumer, you're almost making a more informed choice because you see the text for this, and this is what's going to determine whether or not you pick up that book and open it to see the contents. Or in a similar way, this is going to determine whether or not you're going to stop scrolling on Instagram, watch that reel and engage with it in some way, or are you just going to scroll on to see the next thing that you're going to see? So absolutely, I would definitely utilize text where you can. So definitely having text at the beginning of your video almost is similar to whether you want to include your hook from your caption as your text at the beginning, or if you want to maybe include similar to like a title, and this could be how to meet the team, whatever it may be within your reel, give some kind of title or hook at the beginning on the video itself. So when the user is naturally scrolling, your eyes are 100% going to immediately go to that text and figure out whether or not they want to consume this content, and they know immediately what it's about. So you've communicated that messaging really quickly compared to all of the rest of the content on their feed. So this is ultimately going to determine if the content is relevant for the user, and equally as well, Instagram's going to be picking up on what text you're using at the beginning of your video. And where possible, say if you've got a video or a reel and it's say if it's like a how-to as an example, even if you could, say if it was a how-to and you really kind of structured this through steps and tips, try to include text as well here so you're communicating that messaging again. Or say in a similar way related to text, sometimes you have a lot of businesses or accounts as well who have post stories where someone's speaking, which is amazing, but they may not have captions or text to summarize what they're saying. So in case you have somebody who whether this is even someone who has a short attention span, or if it's someone who could be possibly in a public place on a bus or something like that, and they can't exactly, maybe they don't have earphones and they'd like to listen to what the person wants to say, but they don't have the resources at the moment. So it could mean that they kind of keep scrolling on and keep going to the next piece of content that they'll see. So having captions, text, reels for your videos and everything will really, really help with user engagement and communicating your messaging a whole lot more, and will help the Instagram algorithm equally. So definitely use your text where you can, especially at the beginning of your reels. So for Instagram Insights, this is something that's really, really useful to figure out then what content is performing well, identifying any areas there for improvement, or trying to figure out what your audience likes the most in terms of what they're consuming, and ensuring to repackage this in the future so that you can see a similar effect and hopefully continue to see these figures go up. So in order to access these, all you need to do is, if you're logged into your Instagram account and you're on your profile, so you see your bio, you see your posts, and if you go to the main button, the main menu button at the top right hand corner, you'll see a list here of options that you've got, and the one that says Insights, this will bring you to your insights then, and it will give you some key metrics that you can analyze them related to your content. So it's got a summary of your content in terms of your page performance and your content related to your stories and your reels if you really want to break it down in terms of how each type of content is performing. So the key metrics to analyze would be your post performance. And this would be, for example, how many people this content they managed to reach. So understanding which content got the most reach, and then from there figuring out what type of content was that, what keywords were used, what hashtags were used, and then finding ways to hopefully continue to reproduce content like that in the future to really tap into what your audience was clearly interested in, and making sure to continue to do that in the future. It will also give you as well your story performance. So it will give you how many views your story got, as well as the likes as well for your story. So this is a great thing to check out as well, to see what type of content your stories is performing the best. So it's a great thing to check out to see, especially if you do use the engagement stickers, try and figure out which one generated the most engagement and performed the best. So continuing to use these in the future. So some of these do come in a way with some kind of testing out and experimenting with different content types and features, but figuring out what works best for you, your page and your business will really help them. Once you've got that figured out through the likes of insights, then you can continue to create a similar effect in the future. And it will also give you your reel performance. So it will outline for you what reels are performing the best, which ones are people watching the most, and help understand what type of video content your audience wants to see. And it will also let you know about your follower growth. So it will let you know you can filter this to a specific time period. If you wanted to filter this to the last 30 days, 90, the last 7 days, anything like that, that's the most relevant for your business and your page. You can check to see how your followers have actually grown then. So you can check to see what new followers you gain based on a certain time period of a campaign or your social media posts, and then understand from there where are all these people then coming from, and you can take that information to continue to grow your following in the future. So similar to that, you'll also get your top locations, which is a great feature as well, where it will let you know where the top locations that people are coming from in terms of where they're based and where what regions are they located. So this is great to see if you wanted to do a deep dive into who your audience actually is. And this is a great insight to get as well, so that you can determine are you reaching the correct locations, and even using this information for if you were to do maybe Instagram ads, and using this information to include this within all the information that you'll input when you're creating the adverts, and using this information to say we want to target these locations because we can clearly see that this is where the majority of our followers and our reach is coming from. You'll also get your age range as well, which is really interesting to look at to determine to see what age your audience is, because it's really interesting to see if you target a specific age group, it's really great to check this out to see, did you reach those correct people? And if not, it could be a case of you need to reevaluate the types of queries that you're answering through your content, or the types of keywords that you're using. So this is a great thing to check out, and it can even highlight possibly an age group that you may not have considered before, but may be more than open to kind of tailoring your content towards this age group in the future. So this is quite an insightful part to look at as well. And you'll also get your most active times, which is so useful, and this will let you know when your followers are roughly on average most active online, depending on what time period you filtered this in. The only thing I would say about this is that you may need to post quite frequently and consistently, and give it a little bit of time in order to get this information, only because say if you're an account who you don't post maybe very consistently, or you've posted a few times and you're kind of determined to get this information, you do need to post a good few times consistently, and over time then Instagram will deliver these insights to you. Just because if you don't post consistently or anything like that, then it's not going to be able to tell you the most accurate information. So there's almost no point in it saying your followers most active on 2 p.m. on Tuesday or something like that, when that was probably only as a result of 3 posts, but it's not the real main picture or anything like that. So this is one of those things you can definitely use, where unfortunately we can't necessarily stalk what people are doing, but we can definitely try through using insights like these, and using this to tailor our strategies. What I would definitely check out would be, if you do go into the reel performance, once you go into each individual reel, a fantastic feature that you now get on your insights is the watch time, and this will break down for you how many plays that your video had gotten, what was the watch time overall, and also the user's average watch time. So say if you were to upload a reel and it was a minute long or something like that, and you saw, say in this example, that you got 9 seconds of an average watch time, you could take from this to say, okay, so on average users only got the information about who we are and the title to begin with, and why was that? And this is really important to look at, to say, if you do then focus on reels, check to see what reels are generating the most watch time. And this can definitely be reflected as well if, say, people share or save your content, because this will help with the watch time and the plays as well, because they're constantly coming back to it or having to always replay it. So that's why things along the lines of how-tos, hacks, things like that are really great for like your video content, because you're giving them reasons to come back to get that information again, to follow along what you're doing, say in a tutorial type of video, and increase this watch time. And the more watch time that you're building, the more plays that you're building, the more likely that your content will be seen by more users. And it will give you a breakdown like this, where we'll let you know how many of your it would divide your reach between how many people were followers and who were non-followers, which is a great tool to use, so you can figure out to see how your content is performing simply for your followers, and then for the likes of the search engine and the explore tab. So amongst all the things where people kind of find it frustrating, the amount of updates and everything that happens, this is one of those ones where it's an absolute gem that it's come out, and it's a great one to use to understand how your reels are performing. So 100% check out the watch time information that you get. So the final thing is just to go over some new Instagram features and tips that you can use. So Instagram Guides is a new feature that Instagram have launched, where this is basically where, say you've got your main grid posts, your reels and your stories. A guide is basically where you take certain posts from your main grid and categorize them, so you help guide, no pun intended of course, you help guide the user about a certain topic or product or service that you have. So this is basically, say for the likes of highlights, where you take stories and you're basically categorizing them and saying all of my about us stories, all of my stories related to cake recipes and so on, whatever it may be that you offer. This is where basically you take the main grid posts and you categorize them in a guide, so that say if a user came onto your grid and it all looked like great content, but they specifically wanted to look at one particular service or one product and wanted to know more information about that one product, you can create a guide so that you can show the user all of your posts related to that one thing that they're looking for. So it's a great feature that this is a great new feature on Instagram. So all you need to do this is, say if you're on your profile, you're on the profile icon, you can see all of your profile details. When you go to the main menu button, and it will come up what you would like to create, it will say a list of things like reel, story, live, and so on. There will be an option for guide, and then all you need to do is click into that and select posts, and you can add your posts there. For a guide, you can add posts that are existing on your grid, and you can also add any saved posts. So any posts that you've got saved on your own account, you can also add there as well. And this completely up to yourself. You can do this if you've saved posts before in the past that are beneficial and you want to give a little bit of recognition to other accounts, you can do that as well, which is really useful. So definitely check out Instagram Guides, especially if you sell products and services and want to ensure that your main content is categorized in an effective way for the viewer to look through. Then definitely check out those. Instagram Threads as well, of course, has still fairly recently has launched as well. So this is the rival in a way for Twitter, or X, I suppose these days. But Instagram Threads is a great way to take any kind of textual elements of your business and post this on Instagram Threads. And the great thing about this is that it's been developed so that if you've got an Instagram page all set ready to go, all you need to do is create your Instagram Threads account, and it will use your username from your main Instagram page. And you can select when you're setting up your account, it will ask you if you want to automatically follow, say, all the accounts that you currently follow. If they've got a Threads account, do you want us to follow them? And it's a great way to kind of kickstart a new in a way a new account, and this is a great feature that has come out to have a little bit more conversations as well with users online through text. So definitely check this one out as well. And then similar to near the beginning, add a more than one link to your bio. So definitely utilize this feature where say if you wanted to add 5 links to your bio, this could be a booking page, products, a competition page. It could be maybe a blog post that you want to get more traffic to, and it could be a form sign up. It could be so many things where you're tapping into all those things that you're looking to achieve and to take users to, and highlighting this within your bio, which is fantastic, especially when you're updating your bio with relevant links related to competitions or promotions or anything that's maybe time sensitive like that. So it's really easy to edit and remove in the future. Also, collaborative posts are fantastic. So say if you're a business page and you would like to collaborate with another page, or you'd like to do maybe a competition or anything like that, a collaborative post is fantastic where one, you're about to say post a reel or an image as a main post to your grid. If you click on to tag people, you'll also get an option to invite a collaborator, and what this will do would be it will send a request to the account that you're inviting as the collaborator, and it will ask them if they want to collaborate on this one post that you're about to publish. So all they have to do is to confirm that request, and then this means that once that post is live, that you and that account both you have joint ownership of that post. So the post can be seen on your profile grid as well as theirs. And this is fantastic because this means that anytime that account that you've collaborated with, if a follower has liked the post from their end, you'll also gain that like or comment or share it, anything like that. So it's a great way to, in a way, double your stage, double your following, because you're getting a lot more exposure with the days this where you can. And then finally, consistency is key. So like anything, say when it comes to the end of a year and we have New Year's resolutions and we want to do things like, I want to get better sleep, I want to eat better, I'm going to exercise. The key thing that always kind of links these all together is that all of these goals only truly work if there's consistency. So doing something once or twice every now and then isn't going to get you to your main goals and objectives. So in saying this, consistency is key with Instagram. So try and post as often as you can and try to figure out a schedule that works best for you. So even if you wanted to start off with say 3 posts a week or anything like that, and take into consideration your stories as well to complement those main grid posts, and try and keep some kind of consistency, whether that's knowing how many times you'll post a week, knowing what days you'll post, what times. Keeping a consistency will ensure that the algorithm will favor your posts then when it comes to that kind of ranking of posts and that competition that exists then online. So these are just a couple of Instagram features to bring to your attention, and a couple of tips as well when posting in general that will really help with your Instagram accounts take off then. So I hope that was useful, and if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments, of course. So let me just see. So somebody has asked, is it bad to share TikTok videos on Instagram? So this definitely isn't bad at all. I think the great thing is with Instagram Reels and TikTok, because they're all trying to kind of copycat each other these days, the great thing is that if you can make a reel, you can make a TikTok, and if you can make a TikTok, then you can make a reel. So we're kind of doubling up on the skills when we're doing one thing. So say if you were to create a TikTok video, if you download that onto your phone and share it to Instagram, that's 100%. The only thing would be is just to double check that once you've downloaded the TikTok video, just make sure that you don't have the logo of the TikTok watermark where you'll see like the TikTok logo and your username there. That's the only thing just to look out for, because Instagram the algorithm is kind of smart enough now that it clocks what content has got that TikTok watermark, and it almost says that arguably is like an insult to say you're uploading competitor content. How dare you, that they're that leading competitor for them. So just to double check, once you've downloaded the TikTok video, just double check that you don't have that TikTok watermark there. And as long as that watermark isn't there, you can 100% download a TikTok video and post it on Instagram. And that's the great thing about the about this kind of takeoff of Reels and TikTok is that the content itself is very, very similar in terms of the purpose and everything like that. The only thing that you probably need to change would just be things like if you were copying across your captions, just as an example, so that you're not maybe pasting a hashtag on Instagram that says something like book talk or something like that. That's quite TikTok lingo that doesn't really match as effectively in Instagram, or you're not saying something like maybe like saying an Instagram bio where you say something like check out our Instagram post or anything like that, and you pasted that in a TikTok video, of course, which wouldn't read and wouldn't make sense for the user either. So definitely you can download a TikTok video and post it on Instagram. As long as there's no watermark on that video, then you're 100% and good to go. And let me double check. So someone's asked, is it easy to create your own engagement stickers with your own branding? So I would say for using your engagement stickers, even if you wanted to list out maybe some frequently asked questions that you frequently get that's maybe already on your website or anything like that, and you can do this through the likes of, say, a poll or a quiz or something like that, and identify anything that you would like to see more engagement or more queries about. And it's a great way to kind of open the floor for your audience. And even if you were branding these, the image that you've say got in the background of your story is quite important for this, even just so when the person sees the sticker, they know what account this is. So say if you were talking about maybe specific products, if you've got an image of that product in the background of your story, and then have that relevant engagement sticker. So if that's like a poll or a quiz or something like that, so that the user's informed about what exactly you're discussing. So say if you were selling candles, for example, and you were selling a gift basket of candles, like a gift hamper or something like that, making sure that you've got an image of that specific gift hamper. So when you're typing in your poll or your engagement sticker, it says something along the lines of who would you gift this hamper to, and then a list of saying my mommy, my friend, my dad, something like that, so that you're making that link for the user to say, here's our branding, here's our products, and here's the engagement sticker that I'd like you to engage with. Also, as well, you can include the engagement stickers for if the story is a video as well. You can also do that equally, just to make sure that your engagement sticker, just to make sure that it's large enough and easily clickable if you do have a video, so it's not kind of minimized, blocking anything important in the video or anything like that, so that it may not kind of land as effectively, as long as the content itself you want them to see is clearly visible and they can easily click into the engagement sticker as well. So somebody has asked, say, should I use more Reels instead of images? So for this one here, I would, where you can, have a focus on Reels, only because with Reels, it used to be that a couple months ago, it used to be that Instagram publicly announced that they're favoring Reels over images. So if you posted a Reel, you're automatically guaranteed a chance that you'll be seen more quickly than the image. But now it has changed that, so that now Instagram has announced that whether it's a Reel or an image, you've both got equal playing field, that you can both reach people's feeds and the Explore tab and search engine and so on. So in saying that, even though Instagram have said that it's an equal playing field, both will equally get a chance of being seen, Reels have definitely still proven to engage users a whole lot more, especially when you think about the amount of users who are now downloading and watching videos on TikTok and how addictive it is. And again, my screen time is a testament to that, of how addicting it is, unfortunately. So I would say if you want to get reach quite quickly and immediate, definitely have a focus on Reels and try and integrate that where you can. So just to say, as like an example, what you could do is just depend on what fits your kind of posting schedule, and when you're getting into the consistency of it. If you're posting 3 times a week, try and make one of those posts a Reel, or say if you're posting 4 times a week, try maybe 2 Reels, 2 images or anything like that. So it sometimes just depends. For different pages, they've definitely found that Reels work the best for them in terms of getting them made. They're quick with it and want to get on to the next one. So you might find with trial and error, seeing which ones work best for you. So I would try, where possible, have an emphasis on the reels, but images will definitely always have a place, especially with the likes of infographics and things like that. So so it's not that every business page has to focus on reels necessarily, but do try and integrate them where you can, because you will see that reach and watch time go up much quicker than the likes of your images. But having a great balance of both, and ensuring that you're definitely including reels where possible would be perfect. And then let me just see. So also, how many characters in total are there in the Instagram caption? So this would be 2,200 characters. And saying that, I know that some people would, you might see sometimes when someone's given a big story, they might say something like more in the comments and continue that caption technically, but just as a comment. But with your Instagram caption, you can use up to 2,200 characters. I would utilize as many of these as you can, although then definitely not every account uses them. But with each kind of character you've got and each of your structure, as long as you've got that hook information, call to action, and your hashtags as well, then that will definitely help with your content with being optimized for SEO and delivering all that information that's relevant for the user. So even a great way to use a caption would be, say if you've got a reel and it's very quick and snappy with, say, quick fire information about a product or service, or maybe say if it was a reel and it was about, here's how to book an appointment with us or something like that, and you deliver the stages to say, go onto our website, fill in this form, we'll then review it, whatever it may be. But then use your caption as the opportunity to elaborate on that a little bit. So say you could break down each step, list it out, and continue to say, fill out our sign up form, and then you can elaborate there to say, we will review your form and we will get back to you within 5 days, and then we'll send you a link, yada yada yada, and so on. And that will really help with your Instagram captions. So I think that is all of the questions, but I hope this was useful. I really hope that hopefully this kickstarted some content ideas for Instagram. So this is for me the one to beat. This is definitely my favorite one of all of the social media platforms. So it's definitely a great one to utilize, and it's been so beneficial for B2B and B2C, which is brilliant. So so it's definitely brilliant to check out. So if you have any other questions, you can always leave us a message or continue to leave a comment on this post. Or you can send us an email and check out our website as well. If you did enjoy this masterclass, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a Google review as well. So all you need to do is search for Profile Tree on Google, and once you find our business listing, you'll be able to see the Google reviews there, and you can leave us a review, because it helps ensure that we can deliver more webinars like this to help more business owners and content creators. So I really hope you find this useful and enjoyable, and I hope everybody, of course, has a lovely rest of their Friday and a wonderful weekend. So we'll see you in the next one in a few weeks, and hope you all take care. See you later. Bye.